My question is question 8, which is two men set out at the same time to walk towards each other from M to N, 13 miles apart. The first man walks at a rate of 4 miles per hour. The second man walks 2 miles per hour the first hour, 2.5 miles per hour the second hour, 3 miles per hour the third hour, and so on in arithmetic progression. How long before they meet? So we know that M and N are 13 miles apart. And we know that man A is going to be at the M point and man B is going to be at the N point because they are 13 miles apart from each other. And that man A is walking 4 miles per hour and that man B is walking 2 miles per hour the first hour, 2.5 miles per hour the second hour, 3 miles per hour the third hour, and etc. And he's going to be walking an extra 0.5 miles per hour every hour that passes. So how long until they meet? Now, if you put them on a number line here, which I kind of already had them up here, we know that man A is going to be at point M and man B is going to be at point N. And we know that the 13 miles apart is the distance between them. So if we put the M at 0 and the N at 13 here, because they're 13 miles apart, we can kind of solve the question here. So if we walk man A out here a little bit, and we know that he walks 4 miles per hour every hour, we know that in the first hour he'll be at the 4, in the second hour he'll be at the 8, and the third hour he'll be at the 12. Now this will be him traveling from the 0. Now if we have man B, he's traveling from the 13, so I subtracted his hours from 13, or the distance you'd be going each hour from the 13. So in the first hour he travels 2 miles per hour, so we put him at the 11. In the second hour he goes 2.5 miles per hour in an hour there, so we put him at 8.5. In an hour 3 we know he travels 3 miles per hour, so we put that at 5.5 in hour 3. That's where he would be at in 3 hours. So this is the hour points that they're at when they're traveling, with 11 being the 1 hour mark, 8.5 being the 2 hour mark, and 5.5 being the 3 hour mark. And likewise for man A here, with 4 being the 1 hour mark, 8 being the 2 hour mark, and 12 being the 3 hour mark. And we know that we don't really need to get to the 12. We don't really need to get to the 5.5. I just pulled them out that far to show the numbers and how they would work there. We know that at the end of hour 2, man B is at 8.5 here, and man A is at 8. So they're almost at each other. We want them to be at the same number, and we know that we want them to meet, and we want them to take them the same amount of time to get there. So we know that they meet somewhere between the 8 and the 8.5. So if we put T for the amount of time it takes for them to travel that 0.5, we can put the 4 miles per hour for man A, because he'll be traveling 4 miles per hour in T amount of time. And we know that the man B is going to be doing 3 miles per hour in hour 3. And we know that they meet in hour 3 because they're at 8 and 8.5 in hour 2. So they meet somewhere in the third hour. So he'll be traveling 3 miles per hour in that hour. So we give him T here also for the amount of time it's going to be until they meet. So if you take 4t and 3t, you add them together, you'll get 7t, and 7t equaling 0.5. And we're equaling it to 0.5 because that's how long the distance is between them. So we take the 0.5 and we divide it by the 7, we get t equals 0.07. And that is the almost the answer. So we need to add that to the amount of time that they already traveled. They already went 2 hours, so your answer is the 0.07 plus the 2 to equal 2.07 hours as your answer. And the reason this is your answer is because they already traveled 2 hours, but they needed to travel a little bit more to reach each other. We know that the range was, between 8 and 8.5, they would reach each other. And that man A was at the 8 and man B was at the 8.5. And that wasn't quite them meeting yet. So they needed to both travel a little bit more to reach each other. And it turns out that they would meet each other in 2.07 hours because that's how long it will take for them to meet each other.